Hey guys, how's it going? It's Mark here. Apologies for not doing a video for so long, but I've been working on some stuff and I have to admit that I'm not the best at multitasking. Now, we're just closing out 2018 and I wanted to talk about something which, in my opinion, is a strange phenomenon that has been sweeping across the entire planet, called Trump derangement syndrome. Many people are in denial that they're suffering with Trump derangement syndrome, but they are suffering with it because you just have to mention his name and they fly into a fit of rage just for hearing someone's name. Their brains have been unscrambled. They have thrown out logic, rational thought, and common sense, and now their hearts have been engulfed with hatred for a man who has done nothing to them personally. Without realizing it, many people have been manipulated, if you want to call it brainwashed, by the right arm of the establishment or those who call themselves progressive liberals, yes, the mainstream media. From the time Trump announced his candidacy for the presidency in, I believe it was June 2015, the mainstream media have been pumping out their non-stop negative propaganda. The hysteria when he won the presidential election in November 2016, to me, was hilarious. Do you remember the old Superman movie when there was an earthquake and Lois Lane, her car went off the road into a ditch and she died, and Superman was really angry and he was like, then there was the lady in the lime green jacket. Who could forget her? What happened to her? I don't watch CNN anymore, but by now she's probably one of their anchors. To mourn his presidency a year after he became president, we still had people screaming at the sky. Losers! These people are so far gone, I'm not sure they can be saved. Don't blame Trump for your derangement. Blame the media for their fear-mongering propaganda. A man who has been in the public eye for decades with no major scandals suddenly became the worst person on the planet. He's now a racist, anti-Semitic, sexist, misogynist, rapist, homophobe, transphobe, xenophobe, claustrophobe, arachnophobe. He is the new neo-Nazi Hitler. We were told that if he became president, he would start rounding up black people and send them back to Africa. He would murder gay people. He would roll back women's rights. They would be relegated to being barefoot and pregnant, being nothing more than slaves to the patriarchy. He would crash not only the American economy, but he would bring down all economies around the world. He would also bring on Armageddon by dragging every country into World War III. They have pumped this crap through our TVs and across social media now for over 3 years. They have manipulated, they have instilled fear in the hearts and minds of so many people. Now, luckily for me, I have been able to avoid their propaganda. It's not because I'm super intelligent or whatever, but I see the world in a different way. But don't get me wrong, Don't think that I'm immune to manipulation. Don't think that I'm immune to mental suggestion. I've actually been hypnotized. I was on a holiday, maybe when I was about 20 years old with my girlfriend at the time. We went to Ibiza, and there was a hypnotist at the hotel. And, you know, he was asking for volunteers. I said to my girlfriend, I'm going to go up because there's no way this guy is going to be able to hypnotize me. And he started doing all these tests, you know, telling us this, that, and the other. And before you knew it, I remember he was saying, like, you're floating and your arms are floating up. And there I was, my arms were floating up, and I had no control over my arms. I was trying to push my arms down. I knew what he was doing, and I had no control over the process. So I know that we can be manipulated. None of us are immune to it. So I'm not saying that you people who now suffer with Trump derangement syndrome are stupid or anything like that. No, we're all susceptible. So anyway, what's happened in the 2 years since Trump has been in office? Well, black unemployment is at an all-time low. And it's the same for Latinos and women. Now, I know his predecessor is trying to take the credit, but we all know this dude had nothing to do with it. Black-owned small businesses increased by 400% in Trump's first year alone. Now, I'm no economist, but I suspect that the cut in corporate tax had something to do with it. It went from 35% to 21%. That's a 14% cut. That's a good chunk of money right there. Now, for people who are motivated, what they would do is go out there and take advantages of opportunities like that. They're not going to sit around playing the victim card. Oh, because I'm black, and this because I'm black. No, they went out there and started companies. Now, I know we were told that the tax cut would only benefit the wealthy, but that's not true. For those of you out there bitching and moaning and all this stuff about Trump, why don't you go and start a company? When you are the owner of a company, the sweet thing about that is that you pay taxes after your expenses. When you're an employee, you pay taxes before your expenses. So they're taking more money on the gross. I have friends in America with small businesses, and they've all told me that since Trump has been in office, their businesses have been booming. First step, prison reform. Trump worked hard with a bunch of Uncle Tom sellout coons and with his son-in-law Kushner to get something going with prison reform. Something we can all agree has negatively affected the black community that so many people complain about. The Meek Mills and all these different rappers and celebrities always complaining about black this and black that and disenfranchised and targeting and all this stuff. And then when it was time to meet with the one person who could affect change, people started bitching and moaning. Oh, I'm not going to meet with Trump, but I'll meet with Obama though. We know which idiot said that. His predecessor for 8 years had the opportunity to do something about prison reform, but he did nothing. I guess he had more pressing things to focus on. Urban renewal, which will get corporations to invest billions into impoverished black communities to get people employed. When you're employed, you tend to stay away from crime. And I suspect when these communities are redeveloped, that there'll be other smaller businesses that spin off out of these corporations investing in these impoverished black urban communities. Women's rights haven't been rolled back. Their lives have continued as normal, and they still have the right to murder their unborn babies. The economy is up despite the Federal Reserve raising rates, and we have not been pulled into any kind of war. There's no new World War III. In fact, we can see Trump promising that he's going to pull out troops from Syria and Afghanistan. That's a good thing. I personally would like to thank Donald Trump for getting involved and bringing North Korea to the table, because since he spoke to them, oh, and let's not forget Dennis Rodman. I'll thank both of these guys, because before their involvement, right, there were missiles flying over Japan where I live, right? My friends who are all safe and tucked away in America, they didn't care. Now, ladies, I know a lot of you won't be able to relate to what I'm going to talk about next. The men can. No, you know, when I think about it, you women can relate as well, because you are probably the cause of this. But a lot of men have gone through at some point in their lives, most likely when they were in their late teens, they've all gone through, or most of us, or many of us, have gone through and experienced blue balls. I remember the time I went through blue balls for the first and last time when I was in my teens. I was there with a girl and things were going down. I was certain that I was gonna get the cookie. I was 95% of the way there, and then she said, "No, wait, we should stop." Stop? But being a gentleman, you stop. You try to compose yourself. Right? And you lie next to her, being respectful, being a gentleman, but you're praying that maybe she might have a change of cookie. But she has no change of cookie. And in about 20 to 30 minutes or so, the most excruciating pain starts ripping through your nether regions. A lot of you are suffering with political and emotional blue balls. Hear me out. The mainstream media have convinced you that Trump is the boogeyman, right? And they always have some new bombshell information that's gonna bring him down, and he's gonna be out of office, and we're gonna celebrate and do cartwheels in the street. Yippee! They get you all excited. You're gonna finally stick it to Trump. This is it. This new bombshell information is gonna bring him down. And then guess what? Nothing comes of the bombshell information. Your disappointment fuels your frustration, and you fall deeper and deeper into that sunken place in your mind where Trump derangement syndrome resides. It's a blue-balled, emotional, and political roller coaster for you guys. Need proof?
When ABC's Brian Ross aired a false report on Donald Trump and Mike Flynn that would lead to his suspension, The View's Joy Behar literally broke into cheers and later had to eat crow.
Oh, breaking news. ABC News' Brian Ross is reporting Michael Flynn promised full cooperation to the Mueller team and is prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. Yes! He goes to jail. He goes to jail. He goes to jail. Lock him up. Lock them up.
Another thing I've noticed is that people suffering with TDS, they immediately go to attacking Trump supporters, even people who are neutral. If someone says, oh, well, you know, actually, I don't have a problem with Trump. I think he's doing a pretty good job. Because of how the people with TDS have been programmed, they immediately fly off the handle and start verbally, sometimes physically, attacking people, calling them all the ists and the phobes. You're automatically an evil idiot, and they even question your morality. Just over a year ago, I was watching an interview with Russell Simmons on Vlad TV on YouTube. And he was talking about his now dead friendship with Donald Trump.
Well, you've had a relationship with Trump before.
I've known Trump 30 years.
30
Over.
years. You said you've heard him make racist and anti-Semitic remarks.
Racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, sexist comments, yes.
Who hasn't? We all say foul, disgusting things about people behind closed doors. It doesn't mean we hate them. Am I lying?
We went back to the locker room talk, right? And they say, no, why'd you? I took him to the mosque to meet Imam Shamsi, the biggest mosque in the country. And he met there after he had made terrible Islamophobic statements, and he was apologetic.
Repologetic? I guess that means remorseful and apologetic. Nice word, Russell.
And he had fun, and he took off his shoes, and he spoke to the but then he went back, and a few years later, he's running for president, and then this. You can be friendly with a lot of people, you just don't want to be president. The minute he announced that, I said, it's impossible, we can't afford it.
Some friend you were.
Friendship is small. The country is big, so I instantly denounced, and I'd been his friend. I'd been back and forth to Mar-a-Lago on his plane so many times. I've been on his helicopter so many times. I was there on his first date with Melania. I mean, I've always been his friend until he ran for president.
The dude is so racist that he took your subhuman behind on the first date with his now wife.
You were on his first date with Melania?
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was good. He went to a friend's house. It wasn't good. He went to a friend's house. It's a long story. I won't tell it because it's personal, but it's not good.
You might as well tell us. You told us this much.
Our friends, you know, they all do different things, and we don't necessarily judge their personal behavior as long as they're not really hurtful to other people and hurtful to you, and you just let them be who they are.
I agree. But tell that to some of my friends.
I don't have any neo-Nazi friends.
That you
But
know of?
I wouldn't say Trump was a neo-Nazi.
Wait, did you just say that Trump isn't a neo-Nazi? So he's not burning crosses on people's front lawns? Not lynching people from trees? He's not tying ropes around black people and dragging them with his pickup truck? I even saw another interview with Russell Simmons talking about how he would go away on family holidays with Trump's family. His family, Trump's family. Does that sound like the behavior, the actions of a neo-Nazi racist? Please explain it to me. Russell, you were obviously more worried about money and your relationship with Hollywood. To me, it sounds like Donald Trump was a good friend to you. I've lost friends because I haven't fallen in line with the Trump hate. Good riddance to them. I haven't looked back. Then he became a sexist, misogynist, rapist, just walking down the street, randomly grabbing women by the pussy. Come here. Come here. This is what he said on that Access Hollywood tape. And let me read it. I don't want to misquote him. He said, "And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything." Isn't that what some women do with celebrities?
When you do TV shows, women be throwing pussy at me on the street like frisbees. And thank you, I appreciate that.
I mean, has the word groupie been removed from the dictionary? Tell me. In my misogynistic, sexist, toxic masculinity-esque mind, it kind of implies consent. Listen, I'm a thousandaire, and I've had loads of women insist that I grab them by the pussy. Just imagine if I were a billionaire with these good looks. It's now public knowledge that his accusers were paid to accuse him of sexual misconduct or rape. One woman had her mortgage paid off. Look it up if you don't believe me. You remember what they did with Brett Kavanaugh, right? The doctor was clearly lying, and two of his other accusers later admitted that they made the whole thing up. People do this type of stuff for attention or money. I caught so much heat from my angry feminist friends when I said I didn't believe these women. I didn't say I don't believe women. I simply said that I didn't believe these women. This is the oldest trick in the Democratic Party playbook to destroy a man's reputation. Just say he did something sexually inappropriate, and that will be enough to destroy the man and advance their political careers. I mean, come on, where have you been living? Under a rock? They do this time and time again. Oh, and before I forget, for those of you holding on to the narrative that he's gonna be impeached and forced out of office based on some fabricated lies, it's not gonna happen. Let's look at the liberal talking points. Obstruction of justice. I have asked a gazillion people to explain to me what Trump did to obstruct justice, and no one has been able to give me a clear, definitive, concise answer. It's a whole bunch of speculation and, oh well, this and the other, but no one can give me a clear answer. The closest anyone has gotten to giving me some type of answer is saying that he obstructed justice by firing James Comey. So wait. Before Trump became president, just before Trump became president, when James Comey made things a bit more difficult for Hillary Clinton, you guys were screaming for him to be fired, right? And then when Trump actually now fires him, now it's a bad thing? Now he's obstructing justice? Someone tell me, break it down for me. Russia collusion. The Mueller investigation started in May of 2017. That's like a year and a half ago. They have left no stone unturned to find evidence to prop up this false narrative. It is now public knowledge that the Christopher Steele PP dossier was paid for by Hillary Clinton as campaign opposition research. Those of us who follow alternative news, we already knew this ages ago. The fake dossier was used as the main bit of evidence to prop up them getting the Pfizer warrants. Mueller has unlimited resources at his disposal. The investigation has already cost the American taxpayer over $40 million and counting. And you know what he has found? Nothing.
I have nothing.
Mueller even tried to block a court case from getting off the ground when one of the indicted Russians sent his legal team earlier this year. All these people were indicted just to save face, Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. Sleeping with porn stars and Playboy bunnies is not grounds for impeachment, especially if this went down in a consensual way before you were in public office. It may not be moral depending on your moral compass, but it's not illegal. Neither is paying them off with your own money and getting them to sign non-disclosure agreements. It is not a campaign finance violation. Even Obama was fined for that. No impeachment, and he didn't have to step down from his post as the President of the United States. Wealthy people pay off people all the time to protect their public persona. Congress has a special budget for this type of thing, to pay off and silence people and get them to sign non-disclosure agreements because members don't want their dirt exposed to the public. General Flynn, Cohen, Manafort, Papadopoulos, whatever misconduct or crimes these people carried out, before, during, or after working for Trump does not make Trump guilty of their misconduct or crimes. That's like me killing someone, and then the police are looking to the CEO of the firm I work for to arrest him or her for my misdeeds. Does that make sense? In a nutshell, these people have been brought up on charges for tax evasion and lying to the FBI. None of these things I mentioned are impeachable offenses. I'm really sorry to disappoint you.
Can't you get that through your greasy head?
Listen, Trump isn't what the media says he is. He's not perfect. He's flawed like all of us. But he's done a lot of good during his time in office. He continues to follow through with his promises from his campaign, these promises that will benefit all Americans. I respect any man who does what he says he's gonna do. To me, that shows integrity. Yes, he's rough around the edges and he speaks his mind without apology and without political correctness like I do. And yes, it offends a lot of overly sensitive people. But people are tired of silver-tongued career politicians. They promise the world, but don't do a thing to back up their promises. Obama. Oh, sorry about that. Many people like myself would prefer open candor with results instead of rhetoric with no results. I ask my Trump-hating friends and family who live in America, especially the black ones who are always screaming racism, how has your life been negatively affected since Trump has been in office? Crickets. You're just gonna have to suck it up and ride things out for the next 6 years. His political opponents hate him so much that in their quest for power, they would prefer to see him fail than see the whole country succeed. And the brainwashed masses suffering with TDS have adopted this mindset. They now advocate for things like open borders just because Trump wants to put up a wall to keep illegal aliens out, to protect the people of his own country, to protect the pockets of American taxpayers. A $5 billion wall is nothing when compared to the 100 and something billion dollars it costs taxpayers every single year. And all the politicians fighting Trump on this wall, just a short while ago, they were the same ones talking about stronger border control with a wall. For those of you suffering with TDS, don't worry. There is a cure. It's called truth and facts. Go do some research. When you start looking at all the other news sources, you'll slowly start to realize that you've been lied to all this time. And once you've been exposed to truth and facts, it will make the whole process of unplugging from the matrix mainstream media a lot easier. Over time, you'll remove the hatred from your hearts. And if they were ever there in the first place, then logic, rational thought, and common sense will be restored to their previous glory. I wish you nothing but good health, success, and happiness as you move forward into 2019. Take care, guys. Peace.